Hello, welcome to all of you to my second video lectures on elementary particles. In the last video lecture, we have discussed about elementary particles and fundamental interactions. In elementary particles, we have discussed that there exist mainly three types of elementary particles. One is quarks, another is leptons, and third one is gauge bosons. We told that quarks are mainly six types: up quark, down quark, charm quark, strange quark, top quark, and bottom quark. And similarly, leptons are also six types: electron, electron neutrino, then muon neutrino, then tau, and tau neutrino. Okay. So then gauge bosons. Gauge bosons are basically the force carriers. Okay. These are basically the force carriers of different fundamental interactions. So first one is the gluons. This is the force carrier of strong interaction. Then photons. This is the force carrier of electromagnetic interaction. And then W plus minus and Z0. These are the force carrier of weak interaction. And then gravitons. Gravitons is the force carrier of gravitational interaction. So then we discussed about fundamental interactions. In fundamental interactions, there are mainly four fundamental interactions of our nature. One is strong interaction, then electromagnetic interaction, then weak interaction, and gravity or gravitational interaction. So these two things we have discussed in the last class. And one thing I forgot to told about that, mass of different types of leptons. Okay, so here I have written the mass of different leptons. So first one is the mass of electron. So mass of electron is 0.511 MeV per c square. Then mass of muon. Mass of muon is 105.7 MeV per c square. Then mass of tau is 1.77 GeV per c square. And then they are corresponding neutrino particle. The mass of electron neutrino is very less and it is very negligible. So that is less than 2.2 electron volt per c square. Then mass of muon neutrino. So this is less than 0.17 MeV per c square. And the last one is mass of tau neutrino. That is less than 15.5 MeV per c square. So these are all about fundamental interactions and elementary particles. So today I will discuss about the classification of elementary particles on the basis of some parameters. In the last class I have already classified the elementary particles. That was general classification. General classification means elementary particles are of three types. One is quarks, another is leptons, and the last one is gauge bosons. These are the general classification of elementary particles. So today we will discuss about some specific classification on the basis of some parameters. So today we will discuss the classification of elementary particles on the basis of some parameters. So this is a systematic classification. So classification of elementary particles. Classification of elementary particles on the basis of 3 parameters. So those parameters are, so on the basis of 3 parameters. So those parameters are mass, then spin, then interaction. So on the basis of these 3 parameters, we will classify elementary particles. So first discuss the parameter mass. On the basis of mass, how can we classify elementary particles? So on the basis of mass, we classify the elementary particles into 3 types. So first one is the light particles, second one is the intermediate mass particle, and third one is the heavy particles. Okay. So on the basis of mass, we classify the elementary particles into 3 types. So first one is the light particles. Light particles, then second one is the medium mass particle or intermediate mass particle. Medium mass particles, and third one is the heavy particles. Okay. Light particles are called leptons. So light particles are called as leptons. Okay, light particles are called as leptons. Then medium mass particles are called as mesons. So medium mass particles are called as mesons. Then heavy particles are called as baryons. Okay. So light particles are called as leptons, medium mass particles are called as mesons, and heavy particles are called as baryons. We already know about the leptons. Okay. In the last class, we have discussed about leptons. The second one is the mesons. What are mesons? So mesons are actually composite particles, and they are formed by the combination of one quark and one antiquark. Okay. So mesons are the composite particles which are formed by the combination of one quark and one antiquark. So mesons are formed by the combination of one quark plus one antiquark. Okay. So this is the combination of one quark and one antiquark. So in symbol we can write this as Q bar. So this is the combination of one quark and one antiquark. Here we can write this. So mesons is the combination of one quark and one antiquark. So one example of meson is pion. So pion is the example of meson. So this is about the mesons. We will study details about meson in the later classes. Then heavy particles, that is baryons. So what are baryons? Baryons are also composite particles. They are formed by the combination of three quarks. Okay. So baryons are also the composite particles. They are formed by the combination of three quarks. So suppose quark 1, quark 2 and quark 3. So baryons are the combination of three quarks. So combination of three quarks. Okay. So this is the baryon. So baryon is the composite particle and they formed by the combination of three quarks. One example of baryon is proton and also neutron. Proton is the combination of three quarks. We know that proton consists of three quarks, that is up quark and down quark. So two up quark and one down quark, they combined among themselves to form proton. Similarly neutron is also baryon. So neutron is also an example of baryon and it is formed by the combination of three quarks, that is one up quark and two down quark. So these protons and neutrons are baryons. So this is the parameter mass. On the basis of mass, we classify the elementary particles as three types. Then let us come to another parameter, that is spin. So second parameter is spin. On the basis of spin, how we classify elementary particles. So on the basis of spin, we can classify the elementary particles into two types. Okay. So spin, so on the basis of spin, we classify the elementary particles into two types. One is the particles having half integer spin. Particles having integer spin. And the particles having this is half integer spin. Okay. Particles having half integer spin and the particles having integer spin or integral spin. The particles having half integer spin are called as fermions. So these particles are called as fermions. Okay. So particles having half integer spin are called as fermions. So here the spin can be half, 3/2, 5/2, 7/2, etc. So these are all fermions. Similarly, the particles having integral spin or integer spin are called as bosons. So these are bosons. So bosons are having integral spin or integer spin. the spin may be 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, anything. Okay. So these are the bosons. So here fermions, the particles fermions obey the Fermi-Dirac statistics. So these particles obey Fermi-Dirac statistics. And the bosons particle obey Bose-Einstein statistics. Okay. So let us discuss what are fermions. What are the particles having half integer spin or half integral spin? So all quarks, all leptons are the fermions. So here all quarks, all quarks are the fermions, all leptons are also fermions. Okay, all quarks and all leptons are fermions with their antiparticles also. Quarks and their antiquarks, leptons and their antileptons. So these are all coming under fermions. Then bosons. What are the examples of bosons? So bosons are all force carriers. That means all gauge bosons are bosons. Here all force carriers. Okay. All force carriers, all force carriers are bosons. Similarly, all mesons are also bosons. So these are the bosons and these are the fermions. So this is about the classification of elementary particles on the basis of spin. Here all these particles, all quarks and all leptons are having spin half. Okay. So all the 6 quarks along with their anti-quarks, then all leptons along with their anti-leptons are having spin half. Similarly, all force carriers and mesons, they are also having spin, integral spin. Okay. Here all these force carriers are also called as gauge bosons. I have already told that. So these gauge bosons are also called as vector bosons. They are spin having integral spin. Okay. And mesons, we have already told about the example of one meson, that is pion. So basically these particles are having integral spin. Then another parameter is interaction. On the basis of interaction, we can also classify the elementary particles. So what are those classification? So on the basis of interaction, we can classify the elementary particles. We have already discussed about the interaction. We know that there are 4 types of interactions. One is strong interaction, another is electromagnetic interaction, third one is weak interaction, and fourth one is gravitational interaction. So on the basis of this interaction, how can we classify elementary particles? So basically on the basis of strong interaction, we are going to classify the elementary particles. So how on the basis of strong interaction we will classify elementary particles? So strong interaction. strong interaction. On the basis of strong interaction, we will classify the elementary particles as two types. First one is the type which respond to strong interaction. Okay. First one is the elementary particle which respond to strong interaction, that is hadrons. So hadrons are the particles which respond to strong interaction. Okay. So here I can write yes. Yes means it respond to strong interaction. And here no. No means it does not respond to strong interaction. So those particles are the leptons. Okay. So hadrons respond to strong interaction and leptons does not respond to strong interaction. So on the basis of strong interaction, there are two types of particles, hadrons and leptons. What are hadrons? Hadrons are of two types. One is mesons and another is baryons. So hadrons are of two types. One is mesons and another is baryons. We already know about mesons and baryons. Mesons are the composite particles and formed by one quark and one antiquark. So this is the combination of one quark and one antiquark, and baryons are the particles formed by the combination of three quarks. So Q, Q and Q, or you can write Q1, Q2, Q3. So these are the classification on the basis of strong interaction. So this is all about the classification of elementary particles. Now we are going to discuss another thing, that is antiparticles. What are antiparticles? How do we define antiparticles? Okay. So another thing is antiparticles. The concept of antiparticle was given by Paul Dirac. So in 1928, Paul Dirac predicted about antiparticles. Okay. So what are these antiparticles? Antiparticles. So in particle physics, every particle has a matching antiparticle with same mass, spin, same rest energy and opposite charge. So antiparticles are the particle having same mass, or you can write that same rest mass. Okay. Same spin, same rest energy, and opposite charge. So these are the characteristic of antiparticles. So in particle physics, every particle has a matching antiparticle having same mass, same spin, same rest energy and opposite charge. For example, electron. Electron, the antiparticle of electron is positron. So antiparticle of electron is positron. Okay, we know that the spin of electron is half, positron is also half. Then mass of electron is same as the mass of positron, but the charge is opposite. Here the electron charge is negative and the positron charge is positive. There are also some particles, for example, photons, then gluons, then Z0 bosons. So these particles are their own antiparticles. So photons, gluons, Z0 bosons are their own antiparticles. This means the antiparticle of photons is also photons, antiparticles of gluons is also gluons, antiparticles of Z0 is also Z0. So this type of particles are called as Majorana particle. Okay. So these particles are called as Majorana particles. Majorana particles. So Majorana particle means the particles and their corresponding antiparticles are same. We cannot distinguish between them. Okay. So those are called as Majorana particles. So the particle and antiparticle, when the particle is different from its antiparticle, just like electron and positron, these particles are called as Dirac particles. Okay. So Dirac particle means the particle is different from its antiparticles. So these particles are called as Dirac particles. Okay. So here in case of Dirac particles, the antiparticle is different from the corresponding particle, and Majorana particles are the particles which are same with their corresponding antiparticle. Then another type of antiparticles exist. For example, here example 3, neutron. So neutron is neutral particle. Okay. So its antiparticle is anti-neutron. Okay. So when we discuss about antiparticle, we say that the antiparticles are having same mass, same spin, same rest energy with its corresponding particle, but opposite charge. So there are some neutral particles, but still their antiparticles exist. For example, neutron. So the antiparticle of neutron is antineutron. As the neutron is neutral charge, so what about its antiparticle? That is antineutron. So here we can write the antiparticle of neutron is antineutron. Okay. So we know that neutron is a neutral particle. So its antineutron must be neutral. So how can we distinguish between neutron and antineutron? Because we know that neutron is formed by 3 quarks. Those quarks are 1 up quark and 2 down quarks. Okay, neutron is formed by 3 quarks. Those quarks are 1 up quark and 2 down quarks. So its corresponding antiparticle, that is antineutron, is formed by corresponding antiquark. That means antineutron is formed by 1 anti-up quark and then 2 anti-down quark. So this is the antineutron. So we can say that neutral particles are also having antiparticles. Okay. So what are other properties of antiparticles? So particle antiparticle pairs can annihilate each other and produce photons. Okay. So particle and antiparticle pair can annihilate with each other and producing photons. For example, electron and positron. Electron and positron combine among themselves and form photons. So these are the symbol of photons. So electron and its corresponding antiparticle positron combining among themselves and produce 2 photons. So this is the annihilation process. So in this process, charge is conserved because electron having negative charge and the positron having positive charge. Okay. So the photons are having 0 charge. So we can say that charge is conserved in annihilation process. So again, one gamma ray also, one gamma, that is photon. One photon can also produce one particle and another antiparticle. That is, for example, gamma can also produce electron positron pair. So this process is called as pair production. In this process also charge is conserved. So this process is called as pair annihilation, and this process is called as pair production. Okay. So these are the some property of antiparticles. Now let us consider a theory that was given by Dirac. Dirac was the first to predict about the existence of antiparticles. So that theory is called as Dirac hole theory. So in 1928, Dirac proposed this theory. Okay. So Dirac hole theory. In 1928, Paul Dirac proposed that the vacuum is composed of negative energy levels. Proposed that vacuum is composed of negative energy levels, composed of negative energy levels. Okay, with energy levels, with energy that is negative, with energy that is negative, E less than 0. Okay, so and each level, so we can say that suppose this is the energy axis, this is the zero energy level, and this is the E greater than 0. This is positive energy levels. Here E is equal to plus mc square. Okay, E is equal to plus mc square. Then this is zero energy level, that is 0, and this is the negative energy level. So this is positive and this is negative energy levels. And here all these energy levels are filled with electrons. Okay. So in 1928, Paul Dirac proposed that vacuum is composed of negative energy levels with E less than 0, and each level is filled with 2 electrons having opposite spins. So here each level, so these are the negative energy levels, each level is filled with electrons having opposite spin. Okay. So each level is filled with electrons, 2 electrons having opposite spin. So he called this as the Dirac sea. So these are the electrons having opposite spin. So he called this vacuum as the Dirac sea. So this is called as Dirac sea. So what is Dirac sea? In simple language, we can say that Dirac sea consists of negative energy electrons which fills our whole universe. So Dirac sea is the negative energy electrons which filled in our whole universe, and it already occupying all the energy states. So due to Pauli exclusion principle, no other electron could fall into this level or fall into these states, because these states are already filled, so no other electrons will occupy in these states. So if sometimes due to some external energy or due to some external factor, if one of these negative energy electrons could lifted out, suppose due to some energy, due to some external energy, these negative energy electrons lifted out. Okay, lifted out this Dirac sea to become a positive energy particle. Suppose this is this electron lifted out to become positive energy particle, then there will be a hole in that vacant place. Okay. So if one electron is lifted out to the positive energy cell, then it left behind a hole in that state. Okay. And that hole just behave like a positive energy electron with a reverse charge. Okay. So this hole behaves like a positive energy particle having reverse charge, that is called as antiparticle. So this is the theory which was proposed by Dirac, that is called as Dirac hole theory. Okay, so one last thing I want to tell you about antiparticles, that how can we produce elementary particles? Okay, so how do we produce elementary particles? There are basically three sources where elementary particles can be produced. One is natural sources, and two others are artificial sources. So one natural source is cosmic rays. So we can produce elementary particles in three ways, or we can say that the source of elementary particles are of three types. So question is, how do we produce elementary particles? How do we produce elementary particles? There are mainly three sources. Three sources of elementary particles. One is cosmic ray. From cosmic ray, elementary particles are produced, cosmic rays. Okay. Another is nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors. And the third one is accelerator. In these three sources, so these are the three main sources where we can produce elementary particles. So first one is cosmic rays. What are these cosmic rays? So cosmic rays are the particles which are basically coming from outer atmosphere, and they are constantly bombarding our Earth's surface. Okay, so these are the high energy particles which are constantly bombarding with the Earth's surface. Okay, so these are basically protons. So cosmic rays are mostly protons. Okay, so they are coming from the outer space, and they are bombarding with our upper atmosphere. And in our upper atmosphere, there are so many atoms and molecules. So when these protons are colliding with those atoms and molecules, there are so many particles, so many secondary particles are produced. So those particles are mainly electron, muon, photons. Okay, so these are mainly cosmic rays particles. Due to this bombardment with atoms and molecules in the outer atmosphere, so these particles are produced. So these are cosmic rays. So cosmic rays are the main source of elementary particles. So another is the nuclear reactors. In nuclear reactors, what happens? Some radioactive nuclei, for example, some unstable nuclei, uranium, thorium, polonium. So those unstable nuclei decay into some stable nuclei with some radiation particles. Those particles are alpha, beta, gamma, etc. So these are also the elementary particles which are produced from nuclear reactors. Another source is accelerator. Accelerator is also another source of producing elementary particles. What happens in accelerator, that electron, for example, electron and positron, they are having high energy and they are colliding with some heavy ions, so that some elementary particles are also produced. Okay, and in other cases also, two heavy nuclei, two heavy ion, they are accelerate with very high energy and collide among themselves. So after the collision, there are also so many elementary particles produced. Okay, so in accelerator, we mainly start with electrons and protons and then accelerate them into very high energy and smash them into a target. Suppose this is the electron and it is approaching towards approaching towards a target, okay, with very high energy. After colliding with the target or after bombarding with the target, there are also so many elementary particles also produced. Okay. So these are the main sources of elementary particles. So this is all about today's lecture. Thank you very much.